Hey, eighth grade. What's up? Just getting everything set up here. Um, this is Wednesday afternoon. Just getting this done. So let's hop into announcements and reminders for Pod this week. First, let's remember our Beavers acronym is hopefully supposed to help us build a student profile. Remember, these are the kind of students we hope that you can be, the kind of people that you can be in school and out, that can be ready to have a successful future for yourself, but also for the world around you. So, getting towards the end of this acronym, R is supposed to represent resiliency, people that are resilient in the face of setbacks. That can be like that flower over there that can find a way to bloom and succeed despite any kind of hardships or difficult conditions. Okay. And we've all seen that. I know I've shown it to you. Visualization of what people think success may look like. We're just going to work hard and keep going. Everything will be fine, and I'll just be on this upward trajectory. Where in reality, there's lots of stops and starts, and the people who tend to be not successful are the ones that setbacks just kind of knock them down and they stop trying. So to be really truly successful in your future, you got to be able to kind of get back up off the canvas and fight another day. All right. Starting on Monday, the librarians and I have agreed to start letting people into the library area during lunchtime. This is regardless of like school coldness or anything like that going on. We were going to keep this going throughout the year. We just want to start at 10 to keep it slow. So this is for people who maybe want to come in for some quiet time to read a book, do a little homework, whatever it is. If you're going to come in with a friend, that's fine, but it should just be one or two friends. Don't come in huge groups. I saw a couple of people in there playing Uno one day quietly at a table, and I thought that's fun for lunch. We will make you sign in. Betty will have those, Mrs. Pedroza, she'll have those sign-in sheets at the library table. And if you ever are in the building running around or at all causing problems and you say, I'm supposed to be in the library, you could lose that privilege. So for some of you, this may sound nice. And so we just want to start allowing people to do that. And hopefully we can have some more options because not everybody wants to be on the playground. A lot of you do, and it's good to be moving, but want to provide you options. Speaking of being responsible, so last week I did quite a bit of research. We had some feedback from parents and concerns about Google Hangouts. So I looked at the pluses and minuses, and we did end up blocking it, as you have been able or maybe been able to notice. Yes, certainly it had been a bit of a distraction in class. I could see people sometimes having 3 or 4 streams going at the same time. But the part that really did it is the home part. And at home, your Chromebook device and Hangouts allows you to make voice calls, video calls, a chat, obviously. And some of you, your parents maybe don't want you to have what's essentially a cell phone. That you could at least call people on the same network. So I thought we can't make that choice for them. We want you to have the Chromebook as a learning tool, certainly. You still have email and other places to communicate, but we decided to take that out for a while. I did more research on coolmathgames.com. I got some feedback on that being a little bit distracting for sure and being a little bit, not math, as you guys probably say. Reading some articles on that, there was one that said not specific math certainly, but there's some pattern recognition and different things like that, and that some students after a full day of doing stuff, even for 5 or 10 minutes, could use a little brain break, and it could be good for their mental health. We certainly care about your intellectual health and physical health, but also your mental and emotional health. So I thought, for now, Cool Math Games are still okay as long as we don't get feedback from teachers as, oh, they do. Okay, use it as a temporary little cool down when you get a moment, not I'm going to sneak when somebody's lecturing, because we'll catch you on that, and that could lead to bad things for everybody. All right, so those are my announcements, reminders today. Next thing up, nice job on Red Ribbon Week, which I have to say really slow. It'll come out kind of funky. I hope that those videos were helpful. The ones that I saw and had some time to go through. Thanks for homeroom teachers for leading those discussions. I love that the theme was finding your natural high, because people who are pursuing those things through harmful situations is there's other ways to feel alive and good and hyper and whatever else you may feel from those harmful chemicals. So good job on hopefully taking those videos seriously. And of course, good job on the dress up thing. You guys are so undefeated, and I think that's pretty awesome. But watch out. People may be gunning for you. But I do appreciate you guys being willing to have fun at middle school, because why else would we be here, right? Got to have fun. We also have been talking about, I haven't seen you in a couple weeks, And when I say see, I mean on this video, which none of you guys probably miss in class pod, but I certainly do, especially some kids that I may not get to know. That's kind of my one way to do that. So I do miss it. So remember, out of our 6 big decisions that you'll make in your life, especially in your teen years, so far all we've talked about is school. Our last lesson was about off to college. Okay, and we talked about the benefits of college. And remember, college is in quotations because we're talking about any post-secondary education for you, be it military, trade school, perhaps a 4-year traditional university, but just anything. Okay, benefits, you can broaden your horizons, meaning you can just learn more about the world, take some classes that you just never would have got to. Opportunity, certainly, in your life to travel, to do whatever, and yes, some more financial opportunity for college. We also talked about even if you've never had a family member go to college, don't throw away your shot. Okay, you got to be young, scrappy, and hungry, right? And just you could do it if you work hard. So ways you can prepare. Make sure you're smart about your choices. There's so many out there. Once you get closer in high school, learn about the admissions process and have people help you. And my picture, I don't know how to move it, actually blocks that perfectly. So I'm sure it wasn't that important. Oh, you know what I was about? Financial aid, okay? And not letting student loans be a huge debt for you. So if you do it smart, you can get some training, get all these benefits, but not be saddled with debt, which can be pretty rough for sure. 5th final, that's a lot of F's, 5th and final lesson for this first decision about school, it's about finding your voice. All right. So it really deals with the big question that you got a little bit when you were younger, maybe on essays and stuff, or somebody asked you and said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And when you're a kindergartner, it tends to be some outlandish answers, astronaut, doctor, professional football player, cowboy, whatever. And nothing wrong with those things. But in kids, we don't always understand the reality of the world. As you get older, in terms of high school and eventually senior year, taught seniors for a while. I know I always felt bad because when you know someone's a senior, you just kind of automatically ask them like, oh, what are your plans for the future? What are you going to do next year? You can see on their face that they don't always love getting that. So it's kind of like this fun question that you get at first, and then stuff gets real the older you get. All right. So we're going to talk about answering that question. First, know, as Yoda tells us, patience. Okay. Patience, my young Padawan. It takes time. You don't have to have an answer to that question of what you want to be, who you or what you want to do when you grow up, because you're not there yet. Okay. But just be on the lookout is what we're saying. It's never too early to start thinking about these things. And yes, they can help dictate what college you go to, major stuff, but college is a stepping stone to a successful life. Okay. So just be on the lookout for where you're heading. Have a plan in mind. How can you prepare your answer? A couple of things from Sean Covey's book. He talks about exploring broadly. I'm impressed with our high school for a relatively small town. There's a lot of different classes you could take, pathways, dual enrollment classes. This is a picture of Steve Jobs, who is deceased, but also was the founder of Apple and helped create some of the products that you know and love, like iPods and iPads and iPhones, and helped really revolutionize modern day computing. And in a graduation speech he gave years ago, he talked about when he was at Stanford or Caltech or something, one of those schools. He didn't really know what he was doing. In fact, he eventually didn't quite make it through college all the way. But he took a calligraphy class. If you know what calligraphy is, it's kind of fancy writing. And so up to that point, computer fonts and the way that you inputted words and letters in computers were pretty boring. You'd probably never seen a typewriter, but some of us have, and it was pretty boring. And so when you put, like I have here, all these fancy fonts, he didn't invent fonts, but he got a love for beautiful stuff on a screen, the written word. And so as he was creating Microsoft, I guess he didn't create Microsoft Windows, but as he was helping with some of those things, he thought, why don't we make sure that this can kind of look cool, that you can not just type and print it out, but there's some aesthetic value there. So you never know when exploring lots of classes in high school, just looking up stuff online, being informed. Okay, when you say, I have to answer this question, what I want to be, Schaefer says, well, don't be limited. Okay, don't be limited in what your parents did or whatever it is. Just explore broadly. Okay. He also, Sean Covey says, watch out for serendipitous moments. If you don't know what serendipity is, other than a fun word to say, serendipity, what we're talking about is happy accidents, things that just happen in life and they kind of work out for you. This is a picture, and you can't see me very well, but one of my college bands, and they afterwards went on a little bit without me. Our name was Spondy. We thought we were pretty cool. We weren't exactly famous or anything, but we had some fun. And I bring that up because one of the happy accidents is when I was in school playing football, and football is kind of my life. I had some pretty bad injuries add up, especially one in my foot. And this was kind of this setback that I thought was a bad thing at first. What am I going to do without football? Really, it was tough because ISU was only giving me a partial scholarship. So the next thing I got into was music, which I really hadn't done before. There was just some friends that wanted to start a band. First one band called the Yard Gnomes. We weren't great. And then Spondy, a little better. And that opened up a different side of just my own interests and my own talents in my own life, that had been sports, which I still love. But it allowed me to be in that band and embrace some more musical, artistic, literary things. And so Sean's quote after that is, so many times in life, you're going to think, oh, that went poorly, right? My foot injury hurt. It was bad. I had to quit football, but it eventually became a building block. So just know that as you explore, sometimes just random stuff happens, and they could be a big deal for you in your future. You may meet an interesting person or read something interesting. So small moments, no matter how hard you work, can have a big impact on your future. Just happy accidents. All right. So as you get ready to prepare for that answer of who do I want to be when I grow up, or what am I going to do, we are hoping, by we, I mean Sean Covey, who wrote this book, and myself, that you find your voice, not just as a singer. Okay. And I almost sang for you, but that would have been embarrassing. But just really like your own niche in life. Okay. Your own corner, what you're good at. I think of it as being more assertive and confident in yourself and just saying, this is who I am, right? This is who I want to be. And that will dictate where you're going in the future. So Sean talks about that as a convergence of 4 areas, okay, right in here in these circles. So talent is the first one. And so as you explore your answer for the future and finding your voice, ask yourself, what am I really good at? And do not say nothing, because everybody has something a little different. You're like, well, I'm good at drawing, but how would that be a career? Or how would that take me to college? Well, you never know, but that's not what I'm talking about. They don't have to be school things. Maybe you're a good listener, right? Maybe at home, who knows what household things you could be good at. You're really good at feeding animals, or you're a good hunter or something. Okay. So what are some talents you have? What are you really good at? Kind of similar, but not the same as your passions. There's things that you might be good at that you're like, I'm good at it, but it's not my thing. But what do you really love doing? Hey, what do you really love? And I know some of you guys know those passions. Some of them, yeah, maybe it's a video game, but I know there's some folks that are passionate about music here. There's some folks that are passionate about sports. And we're not saying you got to be a professional athlete, but what is it about that you love? Okay. Because if you just do stuff that you're good at, hey, but maybe you don't love doing, when you combine with some of these other things, you really haven't found your voice or kind of calling in life. So also think about need. There are some realities in life. And so what does my family, community, world need that I could get paid to do? Okay. And I think of my own life that I have some talents. All right. I'm okay at writing and reading and music. I love doing those things, but I'm not great at them. And I wasn't good enough to get paid, but I can teach a little bit, okay, and communicate with people. And there's certainly a need to help educate the youth. And so it meets these things pretty well for me in terms of my voice and calling. The last part is, and you can't quite see it, Sean talks about sort of a calling. What do you feel like you should do? All right, maybe, and sometimes that might be in conflict with family concepts. If you have, hey, I want to be an artist when I grow up, there will be people that doubt you. But if that's what you feel in your heart is your calling, and it meets all 4 of these things, then that could influence where you're heading in college and career. Okay, and it really will have just an impact on what your successful future could look like. Because I'd hate to have you dictated by just one of these things, like, oh, I got to make some money, okay, or this is fun, I want to play video games, but it doesn't meet any of these other areas. Hey, this is what we're looking for as you strive to have an answer for that question someday. Again, you don't have to have it today or your freshman year or even your senior year, but it's good to start thinking about these things for sure. So our quote to end on today, don't make money your goal. It's nice to have money. It's nice that opportunities that money can provide for you. But Maya Angelou, famous author, she says instead, pursue the things you love doing and then do them so well that you eventually get paid to do them, which seems kind of counterintuitive. Like, hey, how come I just can't worry about money first? Because that's not where you start. Okay. Even if you make a lot of money, if your daily grind, if whether it's a job, you want to be just a parent, whatever it is, and you don't truly love that, you'll get what's called burnt out, okay, which is just too much stress and you don't think it's really worth it. And teachers worry about burnout sometime. I know I do for teachers, but thankfully, everybody in here that teaches, this really is their voice. They feel passionate. They're good at it. Okay, there's a need there and they feel like it's a calling. So I hope we find that for you someday. And money may be a corollary, but it's really about finding your voice. And that's all of our stuff when it comes to decision of school. So we'll start a new decision next week. Deuces. Where's the deuces? But I got to turn this off. So just delayed deuces. Delayed. Okay. Update available. This is coming up. Bye, guys.